Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Sunwayfoto GH Pro 2. And what that is, it's a geared tripod head. So I've got it on my tripod just here, which I'll show you a little bit closer in a minute. Now, the reason I bought this is because I originally bought a Manfrotto, I think it's called a 410 junior geared head, and that's this one here. I've done a review on that before, so just check in one of the corners if you want to watch that. Now, I've absolutely loved this thing. It's been absolutely amazing. I use it all the time, and I started off with real estate photography. So real estate photography requires, obviously, you keep your verticals straight and your horizontals straight across and things like that. So this head allowed you to just dial in the composition perfectly. For those who don't know what a geared head is, it just means you can turn some wheels and the head will move in that direction, just like that. So you can really dial in your composition and nothing moves once you've set it. As opposed to a ball head sometimes, especially cheaper ones, when you adjust the ball head, once you tighten it, it kind of sags a little bit after you tighten it and things like that. So yeah, I originally started with a Manfrotto 410 junior geared head, which was absolutely amazing. But I've been doing a lot of walking lately with my backpack out in nature, doing landscapes and things like that. And it is quite heavy, especially when it's in my backpack. It's kind of sitting above my shoulder. So obviously weight that's higher up it's like a pendulum. So you can really feel the weight up that high. I think that weighs about 1.2 to 1.4 kilograms, so quite a lot. Whereas this weighs, I can't exactly remember, but I think it's a lot less. It's maybe 600 or 700 grams. So yeah, let's just talk about it in a little bit more detail. I'll just put the box away. So here it is on my tripod now. I'm going to show you some close-ups while I'm talking, but obviously, as you turn the dial, the tripod head moves just like that. So this one here, you can tilt back and forward, and this one here is kind of like side to side. Now, one thing I really liked about the Manfrotto one that this doesn't have, but it's not really a big deal. On the Manfrotto one, you could quickly, if you needed to quickly tilt the camera or something, you can turn this larger knob just here. I'm not sure if you can see it. You can turn that and just make really quick movements just like that, and then use the wheels to fine tune kind of where you wanted the tripod head to be. Whereas with this one, it doesn't have anything like that. So you kind of just have to wind until you're in the right position. The good thing is though, these little cranks pull out just like that, and it allows you to wind really fast. So it's not, the feature on the Manfrotto is not really something I miss. It was cool, but I don't mind the cranks, they work really well. So this actually has two geared wheels that you can move, and I believe the Plus model has three, which is the pan. Whereas this model here, you can just pan by undoing one of the thumb screws, and you can just pan the top, just like that. Another thing I really like about this is you can pan the bottom as well. So you can choose to pan the bottom or the top of the head. And the good thing about that is if you get the top of the head level, you can do panoramas, really nice panoramas, by just panning the top section. And the other problem with the Manfrotto is that if you can see here, the camera actually sits offset to the base. So the camera would be somewhere here and the base is there. So it's offset. So when you're doing panoramas, you get kind of parallax errors where the camera's out further. So it's kind of swinging in an arc rather than turning on one spot. Whereas with this one, you can do panoramas and the camera will turn on one axis basically, or one pivot point, which is really good. So the other thing I really like about it is it is Arca Swiss compatible. So if you got any Arca Swiss base plates, then you can use those. Whereas the Manfrotto, it does come, again, sorry I keep grabbing this, it does come with its own plate, which I used to use before I even got this head. So I was kind of happy that this head uses the plate, which is their, I can't remember what the actual base is called, but yeah, it's gigantic, and this is the actual base plate that will go on your camera. It clicks on there nicely. And I used to use these on everything before I even got this head. So the head having that base plate or that mount was really good for me, but it's really heavy, it's really annoying, especially on the camera. The base plate is absolutely massive. When I want to use it on my smaller cameras like my RX100, the plate's like bigger than the camera. So now I'm moving everything over to Arca Swiss compatible stuff, which is exactly what the GH Pro 2 has on it, which is really good. So yeah, some things I really like about it is, one, it's way lighter than the Manfrotto. I think my whole tripod now is lighter, tripod and head. This is a carbon fiber tripod. I think the whole thing is lighter than just the Manfrotto head. I also like how precise and just really nice the wheels are to turn. It's really smooth. Now, I haven't had this for a really long time, so I can't comment on what it's going to be like in a year from now. The Manfrotto, it is a lot stiffer, and the longer I've had it, the stiffer it's got. And sometimes it kind of gets bound up, and then as you wind it jumps, like it's kind of like skipping a tooth or something on a gear. But it works perfectly fine. It's just it's gotten a little bit tight over the years that I've had it, whereas this so far is really, really smooth to turn. It's really precise. You can make minuscule movements really easily, and I really, really like that. So I'll just walk you through some of the range of motion you can do with this. I'll probably put an overlay on the screen of me doing that because this is probably not in focus. But you can move, let's just say, let's go with this one first. So if my camera was mounted on it, the lens would be facing your direction. This can go to the left. I believe it's 40 degrees, and to the right 40 degrees. So you might be thinking, if your camera's on it the way it's facing now with the lens facing forward, that I wouldn't be able to shoot in portrait because it only goes to 40 degrees. But what you can do, you can unscrew the top pan section, turn that sideways, just like that. So now our camera's lens will be pointing to the left, and if I move the tripod, now the camera lens is facing towards you because I've turned the tripod, and now we can use the other wheel and completely tilt the camera into portrait orientation. And like I said, I love these cranks, they're really good, and that's gone further than portrait, but just somewhere around there would be level portrait. Now you can't go both ways. If you try and go back this way, you'll see the wheel and the crank starts hitting the actual tripod head, or the area where the camera would be sitting. You can do it, but you have to do it with your hand and fold the crank in. So the only problem I found with this tripod head is that often things do get in the way, so you may have to fold the cranks in and just use the wheel. But once you get used to it, you can kind of find ways to avoid that. So let's just put this back to how it was. So say the camera's facing this way, back that way. So yeah, now as I said, we have the 40 degrees tilt like that. Unless we turn it the other way, then you can go the full way to put your camera in portrait orientation. And this one here is the forward and backwards tilt. And as you can see, this is the same axis we used before, so it's going to be able to go all the way down and all the way back, which is really good. Now I really love the range of motion with this, because with the Manfrotto, there was one night I was trying to do some astrophotography, and I was trying to tilt my camera back kind of really far because the Milky Way, there was a lot of cloud on the horizon, so I was trying to lift my camera above the cloud to see the Milky Way. But the Manfrotto, I couldn't go back far enough. It hit its limiter, which was kind of annoying. Whereas with this, you can go back pretty far. Look, as I was saying before, the crank's about to hit the bottom of the pan head. So we just have to fold the crank in and just turn by hand, which isn't a big deal. Takes a bit of getting used to, but that's it. And now the camera's pretty much pointing straight up. And now if you don't want to hit that wheel, all we can do is turn the pan wheel around the other way and just rotate that way, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's all about just kind of learning how it moves and works, and it's, yeah, absolutely fantastic. I'm really happy with it. So yeah, overall, I'm extremely happy with it. I've been using it non-stop and I've been obsessed with it. What things I love about it is the really, really smooth motion. It's really accurate. It just feels fantastic when you're turning those wheels. It's so smooth. It's lightweight. It's sturdy though. Even though it is lightweight, it's very sturdy, and it's all made of metal, I'm pretty sure. And it just feels rock solid, which is good. Compared to the Manfrotto, it's metal and plastic, but it weighs a hell of a lot more. And especially with that big base plate on top, there are quite a few cons with the Manfrotto that I've found now after using it for quite a while, and a few of them are the camera being offset from the actual base of the head. The weight, the size, that's another thing. The Sunwayfoto tripod head is smaller as well, physically. And I just find that it's far superior to the Manfrotto one, and especially because it's cheaper too. Now, as I mentioned before, there is a Plus model, and the Plus model, I believe, just gives you a third wheel. So this only has 2 adjustment wheels, and as I said, you adjust the pan by undoing the little thumb screw here. The Plus model, I believe, gives you a third wheel, like a stalk you can turn, and that just pans the head, which I don't really need. I'm happy to just undo a little thumb screw and move the pan just like that. Another thing I really like about it is these little screws here that you use to loosen the pan on the top and the bottom. They do pull out, and you can rotate them without turning, so you can get them out of the way if they're in the way of anything type thing. So I know some people, their base of their legs come out really close here on their tripod, so you can kind of pull this out and move it and then undo or tighten, whichever way you see fit. So yeah, at the end of the day, I'd highly recommend it. If you're in the boat where you're trying to decide whether to go for the Manfrotto one or this, in my personal opinion, I'd recommend the Sunwayfoto one. It's lighter, it's smaller, it feels a lot nicer to use. The Manfrotto sometimes binds up and feels a bit clunky. It's heavier, it's bigger. The amount of times, this is going to sound crazy, but the amount of times I nearly smashed the car window with the Manfrotto one, because as I'm lifting my backpack out of the car, the tripod just takes all the weight with it and kind of hits the glass. So I'm lucky I haven't smashed the window yet, because this thing is yeah, really, really heavy. The only advantage to that is that it's kind of makes your tripod a little sturdier. If it's windy, you kind of got a little bit of added weight, but I really don't mind, because if I need a bit of added weight, I just hang my bag or something off the hook down here, or I just find a way to brace the tripod. But it's still got decent enough weight to hold things steady. And yeah, so if you're on the fence, personally, my opinion is I would go with a Sunwayfoto. I don't know if that was out when I bought the Manfrotto one. I've had that for quite a while, but if I had the choice now, I'd choose the Sunwayfoto one over and over again. As I said, it's a lot smoother. It feels just a lot more nicely machined, and I feel like it's going to last longer as well. So yeah, that's my review. If you have any questions about it, let me know in the comments below. I bought this with my own money. It's not a sponsored review or anything like that. I bought this off Amazon, and I just thought I'd do a review and a little bit of an update, because the Manfrotto one's had quite a few views now. So I thought I'd update people on what I'm using now, and whether I thought it was better or not, and I certainly do. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. So 2 thumbs up, and that's it. Again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks very much for watching.